What is up, guys? So Stephen Amell has been posting some pretty interesting things to his Twitter account. He's posted some pictures from the set of Arrow Season 6, Episode 8. He's also posted a video a week ago talking about the episode, and I will talk about that in a second, but first I will talk about these photos. The first photo is of him in his Arrow Season 4 suit, and the caption is, "The suit still fits," meaning that he's putting it back on for this episode, meaning that there will be flashbacks to Season 4. Normally, I would have a problem with that because it did kind of make the worst episode of Season 5. It wasn't because of the flashbacks, but it had a part in it. The flashbacks to Season 4 in general is not something I ever want to see in Season 5, 6, 7, any future season, because it brings back bad memories to a pretty bad season. So normally I would have a problem with this being in any episode, but this isn't the only season we're getting flashbacks to in this episode, if it is even flashbacks at all. We don't know that for sure, but we are seeing scenes from this episode. It might be a fabricated thing, like in Invasion last year in Season 5, or it might be flashbacks. We don't know for sure. But there is another picture of Oliver in his Season 1, 2, and 3 suit, which is much worse than the Season 4 or 5 suit, or 6 suit, which is the same as Season 5. Now, Season 4 was pretty bad, but it did give us a pretty good upgrade to the suit. But we do see him in his Season 1, 2, and 3 suit, meaning in this episode, we'll be getting flashbacks to probably every single season, and it will probably be in chronological order. Probably like a flashback in Season 1, and then 2, and then 3, then 4, and then 5, which is really, really interesting. If there were only flashbacks to Season 4, then I would have a problem with that. It's not something I want to see. But if we are getting flashbacks to every single season, then I definitely don't mind. This is an episode that Oliver Queen will be in like 90% of the scenes. Stephen Amell said that. He said that usually I think he's in like 60 or 70% of the scenes, but in this episode he's going to be in 90 to 90 or 95% of the scenes. There will be like only 2 or 3 scenes that he is not in. This is a lot like the old flashbacks episodes we had in Season 1 and 2, and also 5. In Season 1 it was the Odyssey, Season 2 was the Promise, Season 5 was Kabushun, which came out around the same time as this episode. That was episode 17, this is 18. Season 3 and 4, I don't really remember a flashback episode, but this will seemingly be another flashback episode with Oliver Queen being in almost every scene, him being in 95% of the scenes, and we're getting flashbacks instead of to the island, to Season 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, seemingly. And another thing that we see here is a picture of the boat, the replica boat that we've seen in the Queen Mansion. The reason that you could remember this boat specifically is because I remember Slade touching it, talking about it, and putting a camera on it in Season 2. So you remember that this ship was in the mansion, meaning that you'd think that we're getting flashbacks to the mansion in Season 1 or 2, but we're actually not. On Twitter, Emergency Awesome actually asked Stephen Amell if this is a flashback to Season 1 or 2 with the Queen Mansion, and Stephen Amell actually answered and said no, which is highly questionable. I definitely believe him. There's no reason he would lie. If he wanted to not let us know that it was a flashback, he could have just ignored it and not replied. But the fact that he replied makes me think that it's definitely not a flashback, which might mean that we're not getting flashbacks at all. And all these scenes with him in the Season 1, 2, or 3 costume, and the Season 4 costume, him with the boat or the replica boat, they're all dreams or hallucinations. It could be a dream, like a fabricated dream, like the one he had in Invasion, but that would be repeating old storylines, which, I mean, they do a lot, but that was like a big one-off storyline that they can't really do again at this point. So he could be hallucinating. I don't really know what else, but he's not having a flashback, at least in the Queen Mansion one. It's probable that he's having a flashback to Season 4 in this picture, and Season 1, 2, or 3 in this picture, but he is definitely not having a flashback in this picture, which is really, really questionable, and I don't really know what's going on. The only thing I can think of is that he's hallucinating, or there's another fabricated dream. One more picture to touch on is this one of Oliver on the floor. I think it's in the Arrow Cave or the bunker or whatever they want to call it. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I don't really recognize the floor, but I think that it's from the Arrow Cave. Now, why would he be laying down on the floor? Well, Stephen Amell's caption was, "This episode was drunk," so it might just be a joke post. But more likely is that this is a shot from the episode of him being drugged or something, or being knocked out, and because of that he's knocked out, he dreams of himself in Season 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That might be the reason he's seeing these things, seeing himself in the suit from season 1, 2, or 3, seeing himself in the suit from season 4, and also seeing himself in the Queen Mansion. There's really no other reason I could think. If it's not a flashback, it's got to be a dream. Maybe it's not a fabricated one. Maybe he actually got knocked out. As you see here, he is on the floor, so he might be knocked out on the floor, and he's dreaming. But if it is a dream, then what would really be the point of that? So that might not be it. Maybe this is just going to be a whole homage to the whole show. Maybe the writers thought that they might get canceled, so they thought, let's go out with an homage. This is 5 episodes before the end of the season, so they might be doing that. This probably will be just a huge homage to the entire show, but if it's just all dreams, really what would be the point in the context of the storyline of the season or the show in general? There really would be no point. So that's another thing I really doubt. I don't think it'll be that. But if it's not a flashback, and if it's not like him hallucinating or something like that, it's gotta be just a dream, or maybe he's just back in the suit for a little bit, trying it on season 1 or 4. But that doesn't really make any sense. So the last thing I want to touch on is this video that Stephen Amell posted last week about this episode. I gotta preface this that I don't actually know if these photos are from episode 18. I'm not 100% sure. They might be from episode 19, but they are most likely from episode 18 because a week ago he said he was about to start filming episode 18, and they usually take about a week or 2, a week and a half to film. And he posted these pictures 2 days ago, I think on the 22nd or 23rd. So it would make sense that he was just finishing filming. So it would make sense that these pictures are from episode 18. Now in the video he says that that this episode has a special guest star, meaning a character that is returning that isn't on the show anymore, and that means it could be anybody. It's not going to be Roy because he's returning for episode 15, right? 15 for a previous episode before this one. So it's not going to be him, and he's going to be in 2 episodes and not this one. So it could be anybody else from the past. It's also not going to be Slade because he can't come back because the DCEU and Warner Brothers don't allow him to. So it can't be him either. I don't think it's going to be Malcolm Merlyn because I think he's dead, and it's not going to be any of the main villains. The only other main villain that it could possibly be is Prometheus. He's also dead, but also along with Malcolm Merlyn, Oliver might have a flashback to Prometheus or Malcolm Merlyn in this episode. Either one is possible. I'd much prefer Prometheus because I would love to see more of him. He was the best villain by far in my opinion, so seeing any more of him with these either flashbacks or dreams or hallucinations, whatever Oliver is having, that would be really cool. But it could really be anybody else. It might be Walter, it might be Tommy in a flashback or a dream. It might be Sarah coming back for a little bit, but I highly doubt it. And it could really be anybody, but those are really the big ones. I think it's either Prometheus, Malcolm Merlyn, Tommy Merlyn, Walter Steele, or Moira. Honestly, if I had to put my money on it, I guess either Tommy Moira or Adrian Chase. I wouldn't say Malcolm Merlyn because I'm pretty sure John Barrowman said that he's not coming back at all in this season of any Arrowverse show. So if it's a special guest star returning for 1 episode, I'd put my money on either Moira, Tommy, or Adrian Chase. Again, I would much prefer it if it was Adrian Chase over the other 2. Those 2 have returned for special guest starring. Tommy returned, I think, twice, with the second time being him as actually Prometheus of Earth X. Moira returned in season 5 for a little bit, and I'm pretty sure of a different episode, I don't really remember. But Adrian Chase, as of yet, has not returned, even though, sure, he just died like 13 episodes ago. But I still would love to see him return in episode 18 for a cameo, or maybe as the main part of the season 5 flashbacks that we're getting, if it's even a flashback, because again, I don't really know if it's going to be a flashback, a dream, a hallucination, or a fabricated dream, or anything of the sort. But I am actually excited to see which one it is. But all in all, I just really want to see Adrian Chase back for at least 1 episode. I was actually pretty disappointed when it turned out that Adrian Chase was not Prometheus of Earth X, and Tommy Merlyn was. Even though Tommy Merlyn was pretty good, I would prefer to see Adrian Chase again, because he is by far my favorite villain from the Arrowverse. He was amazing, so seeing him back would be great. But anyway, let me know what you think about this whole thing. Do you think that these things are flashbacks or a dream or anything of the sort? And which character from the past do you want to see back in this episode? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.